Hello there. It's so important that we remember that real leadership is not about amplifying emotion, it's about creating direction. And today we're going to talk about creating direction with no more drama. Come on, let's get this conversation started. Welcome back to Transformation Station Leadership Podcast, where leaders don't just talk about transformation. No, we lead it, we live it, and we ignite it. I'm your host, Adrienne Benton, and today we're tackling a topic that every leader must learn to navigate. That's right, we're talking about drama versus leadership. And I'm super excited about our guest today. He is a leader who understands the critical difference between reacting emotionally and leading intentionally. But before I tell you a little bit more about our guest, I'm so excited. You know that I love to celebrate. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. What are we celebrating today? Well, listen, I'm so glad you asked. We are celebrating the fact that because of you, that's right. Give yourselves a round of applause. Because of you and your intentionality, today we are celebrating that you have allowed Transformation Station Leadership Podcast to cross the 5,000 mark. And guess what? We're actually today, this is a live session. We're at 5,100 podcast downloads. Again, I just want to say thank you so much. Because of you, we continue to grow. But guess what? We're in season 4. And so I want to remind you of this. If you have missed even one episode of season 1, season 2, or season 3, guess what you got to do? You got to go back and get caught up because we want to grow. We're at 5,000 right now, but 6,000, 7,000, 10,000. It's time for us continue to let Transformation Station Leadership Podcast truly be global. I also want to remind you that next week we have our second virtual conference, Lead Her Shift. Our 4-day conference is starting next week. It's going to be next week from the 13th to the 16th of April. Now, in January, over 400 of women leaders, you registered, and we had an amazing time together. If you have not registered, it's time for you to do so today. So you will find the conference link in the chat, in the description box. I want you to go ahead and click on it, and don't come by yourself. You need to come with someone else, because in the first conference, we talked about lead her shift, right? The reset. This one, we're talking about lead her shift adjustment. Life happens. But when life happens, that's not a sign to quit. It's a sign that maybe you just need to adjust and keep on moving forward. So be sure to join us for the conference. Go ahead and click the link and sign up and register today. Well, listen, I am absolutely thrilled and excited to share with you that today we have Charles Sheppard, who is with us. Now, he is the co-founder of a biotech company pioneering next-generation therapies in oncology. He builds software tools for leadership development at scale and creates a phone-based micro-learning platform that delivers behavioral insights that leaders can apply immediately. He is the author of Get Off the Fence. You Matter More Than You Realize, a book that weaves systems, thinking, and environmental science into a clear-eyed call for personal responsibility in the face of global complexity. I am absolutely thrilled and excited to welcome today. Hey, listen, Charles, it's wonderful to have you. Welcome to Transformation Station Leadership Podcast.
What an amazing, what an amazing accomplishment! And just by the way, this is me meeting your listeners for the first time. If you want to hear the energy in sound that embodies leadership, listen to Adrienne. Right? I'm just telling you right now. No, I'm serious. There's an energy that happens when somebody has such a clear vision about where they're going. The sound energy is different, and you can actually hear it. It is. There's no doubt in my mind that you'll grow the podcast because it's easy to listen to. There's a sound energy that happens and can only happen with a level of congruence that you're doing. So I'm just telling you, I'm listening to you. I'm hearing you speak and I'm going, "Oh man, this is actually working on me at unconscious level even." So congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. And Trisha is with us as well. Trisha, welcome. We're so glad you're with us today in this episode. Now, listen, Charles, I've been looking forward to this episode because I think that we're talking about, we're having a conversation that's really relevant to leadership, right?
Yep.
So I want to start off by asking you this question. When you think about the difference between drama and leadership, what are the clearest behaviors or mindsets that you find separates the two?
So, part of the backstory that happens between the distinction between drama and leadership, historically, people would compare here's what a manager is to here's what a leader is, right? That was the classic contrast.
Mm-hmm.
And for me as a behavioral scientist, when I look at it from a behavioral standpoint, the behaviors of good managers and the behaviors of good leaders are almost identical. So
Okay.
it wasn't like a good contrast. And so that led me down as a professor of leadership. I had to go, I don't care for this contrast.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the actual behaviors, the classic is people that are in the what I call the leadership triangle or truly visionary. People that are
Mm-hmm.
in the drama triangle have this victim, it's being done to them mindset, right? So it's an external locus of control versus an internal locus of control. The second thing is people that are in drama run around trying to rescue others. If you're in the leadership, you'll actually believe in them to actually coach them to grow them, right? So there's the difference between rescuing people and growing them. And
Yes.
then there's this other area which is really fundamental. A lot of people who are generating drama are so controlling, they start micromanaging everything, and it becomes a little bit like, Adrian, you either do it this way or you're fired, right? That's their motivational, versus really understanding how to be a catalyst to unlock. And being a catalyst means that you've got to understand how people are fundamentally motivated, but also how they think and how they think together in groups. And a catalyst will sit there and bring people together so that they think better by being a group, where the
Mm-hmm.
adversary is actually putting friction into that, where it fractures people. And the number one behavior,
Yes.
people talk trash about each other in the drama triangle. In the top triangle, people are being each other's advocates. I just realized that I'm just meeting you on the podcast. I started out by being your advocate, like going, oh, I heard the sound energy and I went, oh, I'm going to point that out to your listeners. So people who are in what I call the leadership triangle are operating from a fundamentally different mindset, which generates the behaviors.
Yeah. As you were talking, I was thinking about the fact that I have a boss. I have a supervisor who one of the things that he consistently says in the workspace is this is not personal.
Mm,
Because he wants you to know that, if this is a moment where we need to have quote unquote a tough conversation, if there
yep,
needs to be some correction or clarification, he wants you to start from the framework of I'm not attacking you.
yep,
We're talking about the situation. That situation is not your identity. He'll tell us, periodically, like, when this conversation is over, we're done. Like, we're gonna move on. I'm gonna smile. And that has brought psychological safety to
yep.
the workplace, right? And so, here in Transformation Station, we always invite our listeners and our viewers to pause and to really take in the conversation that we're having. And I want to invite everybody right now. Charles is really giving us some really good key tips on how we can lead forward, right? Removing the drama that sometimes keeps attention on the problem. And so hone in, listen, and also tell us in the chat right now what is resonating with you. What's
Mm,
coming forward as you're hearing this conversation? So I want to ask you this question next, right? Because I know somebody's thinking it. How can we as leaders recognize when emotional reactions, conflict, or distractions are turning into drama that will weaken our team performance?
So my definition of drama is for drama to actually occur, two or more people have to be engaged with it.
Correct.
Right? So that is the definition. Otherwise, I'm just feeling bad, which is okay, right? But
Mhm.
you didn't create any additional drama. You're over here feeling bad, right?
Mhm.
So what happens is when I take that state into everyone else, and we now know, and so this is the main thing: is you have to recognize the state first in yourself. If you want to get my definition of somebody in the drama triangle versus the leadership triangle, it's fundamentally, are you bringing a quality energy into this conversation, or are you pulling energy out of the conversation? So
Mhm.
you're either a net generator of energy or you're a taker of energy. So that just
Yes.
lets you know, if you are taking energy, there's a bit of a piece that we have to actually even understand, that something like the drama triangle exists. It comes as standard equipment with every human being. It's not optional, right? That
Mhm.
is the baseline, and I can get into the kind of the neuroscience behind it, but this is a pattern that's hardwired across every culture, across every human being that I've ever run across, and it takes leadership is optional. So
Mhm.
the first thing is to do is to notice that sometimes you do get stuck in the drama triangle. And the more you can identify it, and the way that I identify it is that I'm in an energy state. It's
Mhm.
not serving me. It's this is such a I and usually it's because you don't choose, right? I took um, uh, my son and my stepson skiing. It was a
Mhm.
beautiful, gorgeous day. It was a powder day. I got up early. I'm an addicted snow skier. I used to race in college. I was on National Ski Patrol, right? So I got up. I was up early, but this was a trip. These two boys were home for college. I wanted to be skiing with them, and they're being typical. Man, they just wanted to sleep in. So
Mhm.
I stood out in the run, conflicted because I wanted to be with them and I wanted to be up on the mountain, and I got frustrated. So the frustration came from me not choosing. Either
Mm.
choice would have been fine had I just chosen to go, I'm going to go take care of myself right now. Or what's more important for me is being with these two boys. But what I did is I stood there being frustrated that I didn't have either one and didn't make a choice. It's the
Mercy.
absence of choosing. The piece that I like to say is leadership is a choice,
Yes.
and not choosing is a choice. So I put myself into a frustrated state. I went, oh, damn, I did it to myself. So
Mhm.
recognition is the key. I put
Mhm.
myself into that energetic state. I was pulling energy in versus generating it. And the way out is sometimes, if you're in a stuck state, make a choice.
I love that. If you're in a stuck state, make a choice. Hashtag make a choice. To everybody that's listening and watching right now. As you were talking, I was just thinking about the fact that drama keeps attention focused on the problem. And leadership shifts the focus to principles and solutions.
Yep.
All right. And so, as leaders, if you find that everything is problem based, that's a sign right there. Right. And you also want to ask yourself, are you leading from a place of being emotionally charged? Because this conversation that we're having right now with Charles, you getting a chance to, like he said, make a choice. You literally can make a choice today, right now. Be aware, recognize, and choose to pivot. So, Charles, let me ask you this. You talk about moving from victim to visionary.
Yep.
What does that transformation look like in action?
Uh, So in action, you can find things that you get stuck on. I was in a conversation with someone who is denying climate change, and this is a issue that's near and dear to my heart. I found that I didn't have the words to actually talk to this individual. So what I ended up doing is I go, "Oh, I don't have a vision for this. I feel like I can't affect the climate conversation. I felt like it's the interlocking systems of how we do energy across the world, and the climate change that's going on felt so large that I
Mm,
felt like I was a victim
mm,
to that situation in the scenario. And
mhm.
so in that case, I went, I don't have a vision for this. And that's where I kind of started going down. Okay, so what are my superpowers? Well, I understand the nature of metaphor. I understand systems thinking. I understand how to convey complex information in a way that's understandable for people. I love poetry, right? So I
Mhm.
put all those things together and then wrote a book. That's the Get Off the Fence book. It was a way of giving people an understanding about how they can positively engage with the conversation of climate change. And then that came to, it's interesting when you do something and you actually have clear vision, good
Mhm.
stuff just starts to happen. I'm
Right.
working now, I'm partnering with the CEO of the largest kind of Earth's marketing agency that
Mhm.
has a vision of making this the most important issue for 8 billion people across the planet. And so it, I, I can only tell you, after now I've been around for a long enough period of time, when the clarity of vision comes, the
Mhm.
world starts to operate differently around you. It's luck starts to show up, or you're either priming or embedding the code inside of your brain so that you're
Mhm.
noticing the things that you need to happen. Whatever I'm I don't care how you sit there and organize your belief systems. I'm pretty agnostic about anybody's belief, but I can tell you definitively, when you get clear about where it is you want to go and how you want to get there, stuff happens.
Mhm. Absolutely. I love that. As you were talking, I'm thinking it's almost like going from shifting from what is assumed to what is known, getting that clarity, right? Almost like a facts versus feelings reset. When I feel myself getting emotional about something in the workspace, I pause and I say, wait a minute, Adrian, what is feeling and what is fact? Because sometimes we will operate off of feeling as though it's fact, and
Yep.
it's not, right? What's true about this situation right now? And sometimes I know a lot of times we tend to want to run away from conflict,
Mm.
but sometimes conflict is good because conflict sometimes can take you to that point of clarity. Doesn't
Yep.
always have to be chaotic, right? It can take you to clarity. And so, leaders, we want to remind you, use a fact versus feelings reset when you find yourself. And then Charles talked to us about what transformation looks like. And so keep that at the forefront of your mind so you are working towards that as you are leading. On that note, I want to ask you this question, Charles. What practical habits help leaders to stay grounded, to stay solution focused and influential instead of getting pulled into unnecessary workplace drama? Talk to us.
So the function of drama is to create more drama.
Hmm.
And and so if you can, one thing that'll happen, and this is one of the easiest ways, is to actually make sure that all the conversations become direct conversations. So a lot of times people will go to leaders and say, "Hey, I'm struggling with Sally, and I need your help with it." And what they don't want is actually help with Sally. They want to create a limiting perception in your mind about what their perception is about Sally. And the easiest way to go handle that is to actually go, seems like you need to have a conversation with Sally. I'm
Mm,
more than happy to give you some coaching about it. Here are my terms. If I
mm,
coach you on this, you've got to tell me how the conversation turned out. That way
mm,
they actually go have the conversation. And what
mhm.
that does is it stops drama in its track, because a lot of times when people are asking for help, they're not asking for help. They're
True.
they're they're just creating mischief, and they guise it in a way that, of course, people are going, "Oh, I want to help you," right?
Right.
But what there was no ask of true, I need coaching on this. They just wanted to throw the other person under the bus. So
Mhm,
understanding those types of distinctions are
mm,
what allow you to kind of stay grounded. You actually did one. In fact, you've been using distinctions throughout this uh, conversation. Like, I
mhm,
use a distinction between internal, external locus of control, drama versus leadership. You did facts versus feelings.
mhm,
Interestingly enough, I have another book coming out in 2026 called
mhm,
Seeing What Others Miss. I had to
mm,
teach a large language model. So I was teaching an LLM this summer how to ask questions, which means I go, well, how do I ask questions? Oh,
Mm.
I carry around more distinctions than most people. And I actually recognize, just like you were just using, I recognize when distinctions are being used, contrasting ideas to convey knowledge or information. So
Yes.
I wrote a book with 750 distinctions
Hmm.
and 1,500 questions for the large language model. And
Wow.
that's, I mean, now it's become a book. We're just doing the formatting because I went, you know who else could use that? Human beings. Human
Hmm.
beings. If I'm getting a large language model to be smarter, well, then this would be one of those books where you could just sit there, read through all of these different distinctions, whether it's, facts versus feelings, internal versus external locus of control. And by putting a reflective question in there, you think of growth mindset, fixed mindset. That's a
Yes.
distinction, right? Well, that's
Yes.
just one paragraph in the book. So it's
Hmm.
just like there's 750 of those. So that's something that will be coming out. That, to bring it back to your question, having more distinctions inside of your head, much like just drama versus leadership,
Hmm.
that awareness of even having facts versus feelings, those things are all creating self-regulation, right? They give you that awareness. And the more that you have, the more that you can sit there. Like when I was stuck on the ski hill, I
Hmm.
got to the state and I go, oh, this is an absence of choice. I had a
Hmm.
mental model to know what was creating my frustration. And whether it's frustration or resignation, the more models you carry, the less at the effect of circumstances you'll be.
I love that. I love that. Transformation Station, we're getting a lot of rich leadership gems here. I want you to really hone in, write down, take notes, and tell me in the chat. Tell us in the chat. We're here, we're live. What's resonating with you? And even if you're watching this on the replay right now or you're listening, go ahead and send a DM. Let us know what's resonating with you because Charles is teaching us today. So for me personally, I'm really curious about this question right here. I really want to
Mm,
hear your answer to this. So Charles, how does a leader's communication style
mm.
either reduce drama or unintentionally fuel it within a team or organization?
Um, So both word choice and sound energy.
Okay.
So I can sit here and go, and you'll just feel this. But if I go, Adrian, why did you choose those glasses? Right, and you're going to sit there and go, wow, I don't like them anymore. Right? There's so I just judged you, and then had a sound energy that went along with it. Why
Right.
did you choose that as an identity level statement? Right? I can
Hmm.
tell you why I did something, but if I'm asking you why you did something, so all of this is encapsulated in language and
Hmm.
then sound energy. So that's at the behavioral level. You can actually modify those behaviors. If you're not changing at the identity level,
Hmm.
then the behavior, even like it takes a lot of willpower to actually be linguistically accurate, to not be offensive to other individuals, and so the shift actually has to happen at a level of identity. Who do I want to be inside of the conversation? How do
Hmm.
I want to actually unleash in the other person? And so part of, especially since this is one around leadership,
Yes.
a mindset is useful is how do I see the human being across from me? And
Hmm.
then how do I create their leadership in this moment? How do I actually, and by the way, I'm now not to be too reflective, but there's times when I pointed out your genius, right? So if I'm doing that consistently, people feel good about having a conversation with me. If I sit there, and by the way, I can't be fake, right?
Correct.
Just the
Right.
idea of, I have to be able to hear the distinction. So me pointing out your sound energy, me pointing out some of the distinctions that you're doing, you're going, oh man, I feel good about this conversation with Charlie. And I'm not doing it as a gambit, right? It's just like the identity is, at the identity level, I'm an educator.
Yes.
So my job is to educate. And that means I can stay in the moment and see things, which will then be educational for your listeners.
Hmm.
So all of that gets you into a different mindset, which has a different set of behaviors show up, and you don't have to work hard at it. because you've shifted it. And that's why the distinction, really understanding the difference between and there's so many nuances that go into the drama triangle and to the leadership triangle that
Mhm.
allows somebody a frictionless way of getting out of it, because drama replicates almost 25x faster than leadership. They've
Mhm.
done studies now about being in an environment where there is drama, how quickly it actually generates, where leadership takes a concerted effort through time in order to make it happen. And so having the language distinctions, having the identity, having the values, having the belief, having just even the energy structure about where you're placing your attention at any moment in time, that's an aggregate that
Mhm.
comes together in a way that's powerful for others. And if the function of drama is to create more drama, the function of leadership is to create more leadership. And
Yes,
this
yes.
world needs a little bit more right now.
Yes, absolutely. 1000%. Leaders, talk to us. We want to hear from you. I was thinking about this leadership best practice, which says schedule daily reflection time to review triggers, decisions, and unresolved tension before it escalates. And so, as Charles has been talking to us about how our communication, right? He started off talking about tone of voice and how that can amplify, right? Or how they can decrease. This is an opportunity for us to reflect. And leaders, we're giving you an invitation right now. You can do this on a daily basis. Stop, run, 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 but just stop, pause, and reflect on a daily basis. What triggered you today? How was your decision making today? Did you make your decision off of grounded foundation, or was it all reactional based on what was happening in the moment? Are there any unresolved tensions that you still have within you that maybe you don't need to carry forward into tomorrow, or you have an opportunity today to resolve or to let go of? Because all of these factor into how we lead. And strong leaders, nobody's perfect, but strong leaders do their best to create space before reacting. And so we want to invite you to create calm that produces a culture. And, Charles talked to us about growing leaders, produce a culture that helps to grow leaders. So, Charles, as we turn the corner on this master class that you are giving us right now, I, I want to ask you this final question.
Yep.
For the leader that's listening and watching that says, you know what, Adrian, Charles, I'm with you. I hear you and I agree. I concur. For these leaders who want to build healthier cultures, what mindset shift will help us to move from reacting to drama toward leading with clarity, accountability, and trust?
So drama is pretty much a hardwired automatic pattern that lives at the unconscious level. We have about 3 milliseconds before we're into a predictive pattern from the past or
Mhm.
predicting from the future, which means that we're not present. The one access point for presence is taking a breath.
Mm.
And I'm talking about a belly breath. And if you need to fuel the cognitive capacity to choose, again, my keynote's called Leadership as a Choice.
Yes.
And and if you're in the automatic, you're no longer choosing. So if you can take a deep, everybody, just even right now, take a deep belly breath, right? Where you put that on in there, you can actually feel almost in the prefrontal cortex, you're activating the ability to make a choice. And
Mm.
not choosing is a choice. I'm
Mhm.
just saying that choosing is a better choice. So the more that you are actively engaging in choosing, you're setting up the pattern so that leadership becomes a way of life.
Mm. I love that. So I'm going to ask you, with it off the cuff, one more final question. Talk to us a little bit more. Like, can you talk to the leader that's on the fence right now in terms of they're sitting here and they're saying, you know what, this is true. I know that I should be leading differently, but leading dramafully, emotionally, that's been a pattern. What would you
Mhm.
say to that leader today?
It's tough to kind of sit there and go, I would get the mental map between drama and leadership. I wrote a book called Save Your Drama for Your Mama. It goes through a journey that allows you to unlock that awareness inside of yourself so that you can make better choices. I can't do it in 30 seconds, but the book will cover it. If you take that journey of reading that, it's a provocative title meant to provoke you into understanding and creating a deeper awareness of who you are at any moment in time.
I love that. Thank you so much. So I know that there are listeners and viewers that they want to get the books. They want to, find out more about how they can navigate this journey. What's the best way or ways to be able to continue to engage with you?
Yeah, so you can go to www.shepherdpartners.com, SHEPPARD, partners. Amazon carries the books, Get Off the Fence, and Save Your Drama for Your Mama. The new books, Seeing What Others Miss. And a children's book is coming out this year called The Path of Light. So all of that's available. Reach out. The Human Presence Institute, which is humanpresence.org. My biotech company is Arjuna Therapeutics. Any one of those, feel free to reach out. I think as an organization, we're working at making the world a better place.
I love it. I love it. That's a perfect way to end this conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today, and most importantly, for adding such rich value. Transformation Station, I'm going to invite you. You saw the link on the screen. It's also in the description box. I want you to go ahead and reach out to Charles. Get those books. Go on Amazon. But also, most importantly, reach out to him. Send him a message. Let Charles know that you saw, that you heard this episode. Let him know what resonated with you, and ask questions, because we believe the community that learns together grows together. And that's what we're doing. Charles, again, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been awesome and a pleasure to have you with us.
Adrienne, what a pleasure. Great conversation.
Thank you so much. Well, Transformation Station, I tell you, this conversation was a reminder to us today. What did it remind me? It reminded me that leadership is not measured by how loudly I respond, but how effectively I create clarity in moments of tension. And Charles challenged us to rise above reaction and to lead with emotional discipline, accountability, and purpose. I want to thank you for joining us here on Transformation Station Leadership Podcast every Monday and Wednesday. This is the place where you need to be. And if this episode challenged your thinking, I invite you right now to share this episode with another leader, a team member, or organization. Use this to start your team staff meeting. Your team is ready to replace drama with direction. So until next time, keep leading with clarity, keep choosing principles over noise, and continue your transformation journey.